Hey guys, how's it going? Today I want to speak about the subject of does boredom lead to trouble? They often say that if you kind of keep a wild animal in a cage, well, eventually it'll go nuts because it's just going back and forth and it's just bored. It needs to pace, it needs to find its rhythm. And it happens with us too. I think if we are too bored, well, we start doing silly things. That's why little kids, when they are extremely bored, they start actually laughing nervously. They start running around. They start doing silly things because they need to get that brain flowing, that blood flowing in the brain. And for them to figure out something that will keep them occupied. And I think as adults, we need that even more. It's just that we can contain ourselves and we can kind of like say, okay, I'm just going to be meditative about my day or stuff like that for a little while. But if you don't like get over that boredom, you don't find exercises for your brain, well, your brain shuts down. It's kind of like it's the truth when they say that you don't use it, well, you lose it. So it's a muscle. It's a lot of things are developed as kids and we kind of keep them for the rest of our life. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that as adults we can't change and create new patterns in our brain that will actually allow us to be able to be smart, learn new things, be less bored, because there's so many things in this earth, so many things to discover, so many books, so many things to read, so many shows to watch on TV, so many things to discover that how can you be bored? If you're bored, well, you're doing something wrong because there's always another way of seeing things. There's always another way. Even as an old person, if you are even in your 70s or 80s or whatever you are, there's still a lot to learn. There's a lot of things. If you've never played an instrument, well, it's never too late. Start playing a little bit. If you've never danced, learn how to dance, stuff like that. And I do think that being bored can lead to trouble. If you didn't have to work at all and everything was given to you and you didn't really necessarily have a desire to explore, to change your way, well, then you start to stay within the same place, start to be within the same group of people and stuff, and you try to find ways to still occupy yourself because we're human, and that's kind of one of our characteristics is that we try to discover stuff more. So that's the thing, is if you are bored, well, you are probably going to do bad things. You're probably going to... I do feel like a lot of times, for example, even gangs and stuff like that, they give an excuse about being poor and this and that, which I understand, like it's a way for them to be accepted by other people, and in order for the acceptance they join these gangs, and that's what they do, and they steal and stuff like that. But at the same time, I always often feel like it's almost like boredom, because a lot of these gang members, pretty much, they're not homeless. They got a place to live. They got a family. They got brothers and sisters. They got TVs at home, even video games, and sometimes even the government gives them free medical assistance and food stamps and all these things. Yet, I feel that they might be bored within their society. They feel trapped. They feel like they can't get out of it. So what do? Within that boredom, within that being trapped, within that fact that you think you're never going to be able to overcome that style of living, and you see all these big cars and big houses and stuff like that on television, and you kind of get jealous about it in some way, and you want to achieve that, but you want to achieve it quick, and things don't come quick in life. Things take an enormous amount of time, an enormous amount of work, It's kind of like an example I gave in another video where people may like dancing, or people may like gymnastics, or they may like music. So they think, okay, well, I'm going to play that instrument. I'm going to learn gymnastics. I'm going to be a dancer. But then what happens is that once they do it, they hate it. It's hard. It's difficult to get to that point, because what they want to do is just have the end result, basically the result where they are already playing perfectly, or tumbling like a gymnast, or dancing like a ballerina, or whatever kind of dance you're doing. But the thing is that these things are hard, and some things can be fun to watch, but being able to actually do them takes an enormous amount of work, because your body needs to adapt to that. You need to be able to learn these things. You need to basically have a level of dedication, and you can get injured, and you can also like sometimes not do the things right, and not have the right teachers, and it just takes a lot of work, and you can get bored within that too, because to get to that level, well, you got to practice the same thing 1 million times every day for years, and not everyone has it. It becomes work eventually, but we tend to accept the fact of doing work because, well, they pay us money for it, and it's a guaranteed set amount. It's that stability that all humans are looking for. But at the same time, well, what is stable? Nothing is stable. Everything's ever changing. Even your body, your cells, everything within you is changing all the time. What you said one day might be something else. The next day, your experiences are changing your own perception of the world. And that's why I say again, boredom? I don't know. There's always something minute and something different to explore. If you really, the world has a lot of possibilities, and an infinite amount of possibilities in some way. And yes, we're restrained by the laws of physics and stuff like that, and the laws of mathematics and gravity and all that stuff, which encompasses physics too. But at the same time, well, there's so much to explore within that boredom, within the same things that you're doing over and over and over again. So I don't think that there's ever an excuse to be bored. Boredom is basically an easy way out, and it's basically what in some ways it can lead to death if you're just staring at the same wall, or not changing your way of thinking ever, or willingness to learn new things. One thing I realize is, for example, a lot of people who are in their 70s or 80s, well, guess what? 30 years ago, somebody who was 70 was 40. And during that time, there were computers. There was places where you could learn. Actually, computers were pretty widespread. But because they were 40 and they never used it for the first 40 years of their life, they said, no, I don't want to learn it. And now they're 70 years old and they don't know how to use a computer. But there was no excuse because it was there. It's just a fact of, now this is changing. It's for young people. I can't understand what young people are doing, but it's not true, because it's just, if you're not even going to try to understand it, well, why would you understand it? Things are not that different. Things are not that complicated. It's just about being open to learn new things, and actually can be a lot of fun. And guess what? If you're bored, well, you won't be bored if you're learning something new. But what am I saying? Who am I to say that to you? But there's no way to get bored. There's just too many things to learn. Anyways, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.